Price is king. Hear about pricing strategies, do's and don'ts on this morning's podcast. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael Burgio, Harry Larcos, episode 1708. Price is king. One of the most important marketing tools we have at our disposal. It's also free. Price sensitivity when marketing a property is key, and it can be the key determination between getting buyers to your property, which is the very first step of hopefully getting it sold. Harry, what do you see the importance of pricing a property, especially from the buyer's aspect of their journey?
Well, you touch base on it. Price is, I would argue, the most important factor a buyer will be looking at a property. You know, price is sort of sits at the top of the list. Even when a buyer's going through realestate.com, they see a nice property, the marketing is on point, the photography, that property looks amazing. But at the end of the day, the price is ultimately what dictates the buyer from, you know, making that decision to go to the open inspection or even inquiring in the property in the first place. You know, that's ultimately the big thing that they're looking for is the price.
And it's a big part of an agent explaining that to an owner, the journey of how a property is searched, and that understanding is key. It'd be like if you had a web listing and you put the most important bit of the information at the bottom of the text, which means a buyer would have to click into it, go look at the photos, go down and see the most important information. It's just not how a buyer searches. And we know our trends through social media. It's sort of that doom scrolling on Instagram, and the same is on realestate.com. Yes, there are basic filters first. Am I looking for a house? Am I looking for an apartment? How many bedrooms? Okay, so you get past that and you've got 100 properties to choose from. Yeah, the photo would be probably one of the lead things they see, and straight away it's price. And depending where that is, can decide if that buyer looks any further or not. And a lot of the time, that's where things are wrong, get mixed up with that key factor, because a buyer, they're not necessarily like a seasoned negotiator or a seasoned property purchaser. So like when you go shopping and you see something for $10, if your budget's $5, you don't even look at it. It's so you've got to be very close to really get their interest. A lot of the time the buyers aren't thinking, oh, they're asking 10, I'll be able to maybe offer 5, get it for 7, do a deal here. They're not going into that in depth. They've spoken with the broker most of the time. They've said your budget is 1 million, and a lot of the time it's 1 million and under, or stamp duty costs. We're looking at 900,000.
And I'm happy we're talking about price, especially in a market we're in right now, where property prices have, you know, taken a big toll and have shifted around 5 to 10% below what they were several months ago. Price is more critical for buyers to look at right now than it is, you know, I would argue since maybe the GFC, maybe before that. So having a very competitively and accurately priced property in a market like this will be the dictator, you know, if a property is sold or not. And I think we're seeing that in real time, in particular in a lot of the off-the-plan stuff that we're selling in DY down at Havana. We've seen, you know, a number of deals, you know, where we had to amend a lot of the guides for a lot of the properties that we're selling to be competitive in today's market. So, and it is effective, guys, when you do, accurately price a property competitively. You do start to see inquiry pick up, more people coming up to the open inspection, and we see it in real time as well. So, yeah,
Yeah,
especially in the market.
and like we were just a development that we're working on, we were talking about like, okay, so we went through a period of nearly a month with no one at the open homes,
Yeah,
and
there you go.
then have some adjustments with pricing, and then before we know it, we've got 3 under contract, and it's like, all
Yeah,
right, what's changed in the last three months or last 2 months? All right, the proposed budget that supposedly pushed a lot of people to off the plan, but we had a month of no one coming just after the budget. So did it
yeah,
really? Yeah, we had new listing, but it's like overall it was the price.
comes down to
And
price.
Billy and I did a conversation on basically your first week of market is your biggest week of market. And sometimes if you overprice a property at the beginning, let's say you could have sold it for $1 million in week one, you may be selling it for 800 grand, extreme example, 800 grand in week 10. But if you priced it at 900 grand, you may have got 900 in week one, or you got $1 million. Property, it's all about competition. And obviously, the people have understood pricing is very important, and that's where we had people underquoting and abusing the pricing strategy, and that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about where the value of a property is can be one figure, and what the owner will sell for can be another figure.
Yeah,
And it's up to the agents to be quite disciplined in taking a property to market and having that conversation with an owner that if it's worth $1 million and they want 1.2, we're probably not in that market to be doing this process. So don't waste their money on marketing. Don't waste their emotional EQ or emotions going through this process and time when we're in that marketplace just to go to the market with a price guide of 1.2 for $1 million property. It's just not going to be there. Now, that does not say in this market you cannot get amazing pricing. You can. And a lot of that time, if a property is worth $1 million, you've got a 10% law. Like there's rules of 10%. If it's worth $1 million, you can price it within 10%. So let's say that's 900 grand or $910,000 as a price guide to be sold within that price. So understanding that from day one where the value is, marketing it, and you may get 2 buyers who love that property. And this is where it's very important the agent you pick, the strategy they implement, because there's nothing that says, even in a market like this, we all know if a buyer is emotionally attached to a property, they love the property, ticks all the boxes, sometimes that's when price doesn't become
yeah,
the most important factor. For the first 10 seconds of the property search, price is one of the most important factors to get them there. And if
yeah,
you price it wrong, you don't get them there. But let's say you've priced it correctly, you've shown them the property, they've shown their parents, they've shown their partner, they absolutely love it. And let's say even in a market like this, you can have 2 families who absolutely love it. Then you can
yeah,
create competition. And you may have started at 910, but you may end at $1 million. You may end at $1,050,000 if that emotional connection to that property is strong enough. And that's where that magic can still happen. You don't tend to see it if you've priced it at 1.2. You end up having no one at your open home. And typically, if you priced it at 1.2 from day one, you don't amend your strategy quick enough. And it's not till week 4 you come to the realization, oh, we should have been at $1 million. And in a market like
yeah.
this, now that $1 million could be 950. So you're trying to catch a falling knife.
That's it. I was just about to, you took the words from my mouth, actually. I was going to use that phrase. But it really is like catching a falling knife in this market. And then you couple that with the actual buyer confidence. Like buyer confidence is at its one of the lowest, well, it's certainly the lowest that, in my career, in my short, career in real estate sales. But it's tricky getting buyers even through the property, even you can have a really, really well priced property, but even the buyer confidence is, a lot of buyers are hesitant with what's going on around the world, with what's going on with interest rates. There's a lot of factors with buyers that are influencing their confidence. So, having the price accurate, as to what the market is willing to pay is, that's what's gonna, sell property.
As you said, like social proof is still one of the most important factors to sell a property. It's, as Mark always says, it's like going to a dance back at school. Everyone wanted to dance with the pretty girl. You see another guy with the girl, you get the jealousy. It's the same with property. As soon as it's amazing how a buyer's budget can move when they know another offer is there, when they see another buyer at the open home. I've just had it recently on a deal I mentioned in our sales meeting. When I mentioned that I had 3 other inspections lined up for that day, magically the buyer agreed to the price he didn't agree to 20 minutes ago. Social proof and competition is still one of the most important factors to sell a property. And if you price it over market or too high, and you may only get that one buyer if you're lucky, then they feel like they've got no competition, and no one wants what no one wants. So pricing is still king. It creates competition, it creates social proof, and that's what some of the best ingredients to get a great price and get the property sold in this market. Harry, anything else you want to add onto the pricing topic?
Nothing else I want to add. I just want to comment on how good of an analogy that was. Such a Mark Novak saying.
Yeah, he's here with us in spirit. He just turned 50, sorry.
50. Oh, and he's not there yet. He's not at 51. Don't say that to him. I hope he's not watching this.
We'll see.
Well, I think that's a wrap. But good topic, I think. I think price is what a lot of people want to hear. I think it's a very hot topic and it's very relevant in today's market. So happy we covered it.
Very good. Thank you very much, Harry. All the best. Cheers.
See you later. Good morning and see you later.